Alright, guys, this is Cheers. I'm Chance, and this is the 4th episode. So, I have a couple of announcements to make before we get into the thick of it. First announcement, intro song. So, it turns out the songs I've been using in the past aren't completely legal for me to use in terms of copyright. Thought I would just come out with it. So, as of right now, I'm going to consistently use a copyright-free song. And I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I'm not as excited about this song as the previous. The final goal is to get back that Cheers theme, but have some hoops I have to jump through in order to get through that. So that's what we're working towards, but right now we're looking at consistency. Second announcement is more of a notification to me, and that is someone has made me aware people think I'm filming this show in the corner of my room, and I want to confirm those rumors. This is being filmed in the corner of my room, and I get it. It's not a lot of production value, but to try and aid that, I added some. If you look behind me, there is a authentic, handmade, original Chance Cablay. And we'll get into more of that later, but right now, start at the episode. Episode number 4. Alright, cool enough. That is the intro music until I find something better, which I hope comes along pretty quick. But anyways, the original Chance Cablay sitting behind me. It's impressive, right? I was impressed with myself when I completed it because, I repeat once again, made that myself. And I will admit, at the time the painting was conceived, the masterpiece was conceived, I did have emotional attachments to a lover. And I'm not in that same boat right now. Do not share those same emotions, but I do guarantee you all that no matter what, this is an original Chance Cablay that lays behind me. And I just thought it would add some personality to the room. And yeah, that's how we're taking it. That's how we're treating it right now. And I found out last week that I actually very much so enjoy this Suntory whiskey, so we're going to continue drinking this for another week. One more week, we're drinking the Suntory whiskey. Actually, more like 3 days, but it's what we're drinking today, and I added in a little splasher of kombucha because everyone needs a healthy gut microbiome. And that means the intake of exogenous bacteria. And that's what kombucha is. It's an exogenous bacteria that aids with the digestion. And fun fact, I actually pulled it out earlier this week. 90% of your body's serotonin is generated in your gut tract. So, yeah, that gut microbiome is definitely important. Suggest you guys look into it, but we're going to start this off. Hot. This is a hot drop today, guys. What was I going to say? The first thing I was going to talk about was this Suntory. Doesn't have enough of that Asian twang for me. I like it, but I would not know it was a product originating from the East if I just had to guess. And that just comes from my experience in the East, because when I was over there, one thing I noticed is that the palate was a lot more distinguished. There was a lot more flavors a lot more of a subtle combination of flavors that added to a very intricate overall profile of the food. And this does not have that. The Suntory whiskey is very light. I like it. 43% and very light. It's definitely a whiskey for champions, but it just doesn't carry that Eastern Oriental twang that would really make me know this is originating from the East. And that's what I have to say about the Suntory. But all in all, I like the product. I love whiskey. I'm that type of guy. And I forgot. I'm going to take this out. Oh, God, man. So what else is going on? I went on that date. The other day. It was cool. I will admit something beforehand. I was with a group of people, and one of them just so happened, and I know right when I say it, you guys are going to say this was not a good idea. But one of them just so happened to have a male enhancement pill that was sold from a gas station. And he said, "Do you want some? You want some get up on your date? You want some get up to go?" And I said, "Yeah, let's do it, just in case, just in case I need an extra ace under my sleeve." And so I popped half of one of those bitches, and I don't know exactly what it did to me, but ever since, I've not been able to digest things properly. And that has nothing to do with the date itself, but all I wanted to say is, females out there especially, stay away from any unfamiliar supplements. I just get that clear. Sometimes they can definitely have their perks. Sometimes. But not all the time. Usually, most of the time, they won't have their perks. Especially if you haven't been suggested this type of supplement by a doctor. Someone with the intelligence, the knowledge, the background to intelligently suggest that for you. And I will tell you, my friend gave me that supplement. Definitely not a doctor. Probably anything but. And so, what that means, it didn't really affect the date whatsoever, but it affected the days after the date. More of just it affected my relationship with food. And I don't get it. Like, I went to get some Indian the other day. Actually, earlier this afternoon. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. But I just didn't have that absorption. I feel like I'm not really pulling all the nutrients that I need out of the food as much as my body wants. And so I think that's where that supplement really fucked me up. And I'm telling you guys right now, I'm just going to say in layman's terms, stay away from gas station dick pills. Let's move on. All right. So I was looking up some current events. And one that I came across that seemed pretty interesting to me was Costa Rica is celebrating its first same-sex weddings. And that's where I kind of leave it off ambiguously, because in the article, they said that there was some legislature put into place in 2018 preventing same-sex weddings. And now they are reinstituting it into their society. So I'm not 100% clear on whether or not this is the first time that same-sex weddings have made an occurrence. One thing I have to say about that in relation to Costa Rica is I did once go to a Costa Rican party, and it did get a little bi-curious after they broke out the arroz con leche. So that was a singular incident, let me remind you. But what I'm very surprised about in terms of this entire article is the fact that maybe not in this specific locale of Costa Rica, because it was also hard for me to find the specifications on legislature, but in terms of the entire area of the globe, the world we live in today, people have been able to marry inanimate objects before people in certain locales have been able to participate in legal matrimony with someone of the same sex. And that's just kind of astounding to me. It's just, to me, that's a very closed-minded way of looking at things. It's like, just in relation to this exact example, I searched it up. All I typed in was people marrying objects, and thousands of stories of people marrying inanimate objects came out. One thing I noticed is that there's no one no one protesting that. There's no one against people marrying objects. Let me bring up this story for you just so we can have someone perspective right now. There's this lady. It's literally the first story I pulled if you Google people marrying objects. Her name's Amanda Liberty. And she is married to 25 chandeliers. First off, I will never get polygamous relationships. Why did you stop at 25? I don't see the point in stopping at 25 if you're already committing to plural. And so, I will first admit, 25 chandeliers. This is not a horrible move. There will not be a dark spot in her house, especially once she gets all those chandeliers nice and turned on. Zing. But anyways, I'm just... It's hard for me to really come up with the words that explain the amazement, that illustrate the amazement with the accuracy I need to you guys. People have been able to marry chandeliers before they're able to marry another man or another woman. I'm leaving it at that for you guys. Just think that over. Bottom line, Costa Rica, it's 2020. I'm glad we're making progress. But for the rest of us out there, maybe we don't need the legislature on exactly who you can marry, but what we can marry. Because when I was looking for it, I found it extremely difficult to distinguish the laws on whether or not we can marry something that is living or not. And so that's something I think you guys should look into in terms of specification for everyone else out there. And let's move on. Subject I want to talk to you guys about today: change. Life is subject to change all the time. That's something that we are always going to experience, and if you don't change along with the pace of life, what are you doing? You're going to fall behind. And one thing that really made me think about this is something someone said to me earlier this week. They said that life is the changes. Life is full of changes, and what life really is are those changes. But then someone else said to me earlier in life, they said, life is how you adapt to those changes. And I just want to bring that up to you guys so we can think about it together. And before I fully form an opinion on this, I'm going to tell you a story. So, along the vein of change, I'll tell you guys something very personal to me. One of my insecurities. In my past, I used to be a substantially less sweaty guy. I don't know what it was. My glands just might not have been fully formed. But there's this one distinguishing point in my life that I didn't fully understand. Still don't. But I was with my friend Charlie and Andrew, and we were in Charlie's car smoking two backwoods. And them little bats. And usually I could hold my own against two bleethers. But for some reason, Charlie insisted on rolling up the window. And I don't know how much higher I'm going to get by not letting any more oxygen flow into my lungs when I've already been coughing for 3 minutes. But they wanted to test that theory. They wanted to see how much higher I could get. So, something about that specific situation and the amount of exposure my skin had to the sunlight changed my body anatomy. And for some reason, after there, I just became a naturally more sweaty guy. And trust me, I'm not happy that anytime I want to get some of that medium spicy pico de gallo, why don't we call it that? But anytime I get some of that medium spicy pico de gallo, I'm sweating beads. It's not fair that I have to be cautious. I'm walking on thin ice with one dollop of sriracha. It's not fair. It's not a fair life. But that's what I'm saying. I can't do anything about it except excel in my current condition. And I'll be honest, I am excelling. But I could excel even further, and we're all still learning to do that. That's the tough part, really learning to accept the changes that get thrown our way and learning to roll with the punches and just accept what this world has to offer. And one thing I've been thinking about a lot that we do have to change is our homeless situation. Especially, I'm in Southern California, and it is a tragedy out here. I don't know how it is in your parts of the country, but in Southern California especially, it's bad. It's bad. And so, I'm going to paint out a plan I've been devising for about 5-6 years now. And this has been in collaboration with Justice from SGM. Let's get on with it. And I will admit, the basis of this plan stems from a statistic that states the average panhandler in the country makes about $8 to $15 an hour. What I propose is we unionize these transients. And what I mean by that is we reach out. It's going to start small. It's definitely going to start in smaller specified areas of the United States to use as an example, as the guinea pig for the rest of the United States. But what we're going to do is we're going to approach these transients, these panhandlers, and we're going to say, hey, I have an opportunity for you. I have an opportunity that's been lying in wait right under your nose. And little did you know, we're here, posing it. And what that opportunity is, it's easy because they get to keep doing exactly what they're doing. They continue panhandling. And instead of you taking that money and you being responsible to provide it to yourself and to spend it on whatever you want to spend it on, you give it back to us, technical employers. And what we're going to do is, with the bank of money we get from all the transients under control, under employment, is we're going to pay you out weekly, if not bi-weekly, paychecks. It's probably going to be minimum wage, depending on where you are, because also depending on where you are really dictates how much money you're going to be making every hour on the street. And of course, with that consistent pay, you could come to expect benefits, whether that be health, vision, dental. Guaranteed, it's not something you've ever had before. So yes, we're going to provide you benefits. And this is where I explain why it's going to be accepted. Because the good majority of these types of plans, where it's, oh, why don't we turn a certain aspect of society and make it work for us? Usually there are roadblocks that are proposed, either by governing bodies or other people that don't want to see you succeed. And this is where my explanation starts. All that money the transients are bringing in, the panhandlers, is taxable by the government. So, guess what? All the money that's flowing through our slimy little paws and is not getting accounted for is also not getting taxed. We're losing a good amount of money just from people handing it to the homeless every day in hopes that they're going to solve their own situation with the small $5 bill we provide them. Is that probable? No, very unlikely. Instead, what do we need? We need a well drawn out plan, whether it be 5 month, 1 year, 5 year, 10-year plan for each one of these transients. Because I will tell you guys, just like school, one size does not fit all. One style of life is not going to fit for everyone. So yes, we have to be very considerate of those that we are going to employ if we decide to take up this plan. We have to be very considerate of the needs they have in their life. And we have to make sure all is provided for them. And I'm going to get into a more dismal aspect of this entire proposal because I know a lot of you guys are wondering about it. And to prevent dishonesty of inaccurate reporting of money, we're going to implement a board of physical disciplinary action. And during the rollout, what that means is we're going to rely on overseers, groups of overseers. And I will admit, especially during the infantile transition into this process, especially during that transition, we're probably going to be in the red. But we need to start somewhere. And what I'm saying is that these overseers are going to do exactly what their position is titled after. They're going to watch and supervise our panhandlers, and in the contract, we're going to have them sign a clause that signs away their right to maintain physical well-being to their employers, which is us, in case of an infraction. So, say they are being above the board, above the table. We're going to let you do what you want. We're going to give you that check. We're going to give you those benefits. We're going to let you live your life. But say you want to play against the system. You want to play against us? You lose your right to maintain physical well-being. And depending on the severity of the infraction, the disciplinarian, and as far as I know, I'm going to be the disciplinarian, it's going to be up to him to decide what punishment fits the crime. And that's where we get into more of a gray area regarding this whole proposal where we really discuss human rights. But what I'm saying is we need to start somewhere, and this homeless problem is ridiculous. We need a solution. And I give it, this is a very infantile plan. But we need to start somewhere. So let's just try it. I will propose it to the bodies that matter, and we'll go from there. I will keep you guys informed, and if you can get any leg work done for me, do that and report back. We're all right here. We're in this together. And sorry guys, I don't know what it is. Probably allergies, but something else I need to address while I'm on the subject. It's a lot more serious. No one cares if you and your wife go beg for some change on the street, but do not bring your kids along, please. We don't want to see that. And if you and your wife are going to beg for some change on the street, and you say there's no one else at home to watch your kids while we go beg for some change, well, you should stay back. Maybe watch some public programming during the day with them. Build a relationship. Guarantee you, someone's not going to give you, say you have 3 kids and a wife with you instead of just yourself, they're not going to give you 5 quarters instead of 1. Just take that into account. And that was me being a little bit more serious. Of course, the transient panhandling, unionizing thing, the program, proposal is not going to work. But all bullshit aside, what I'm really trying to say is change is inevitable, and hardly anything anyone could do. There's nothing we could do besides adapt. So just get ready for it. Brace yourselves. Brace yourselves because it's coming. And one thing that's also coming, summer's coming. Because I'm glistening right now. It's hot. It's hot out there, guys. I just wanted to lay it down so we're both on the same page. Alright, one more article I found a little interesting today. And that lines up with the drinking schedule because I have about one more drink. One more article. Apparently, many cities across northern India are experiencing a crippling heat wave with temperatures reaching as high as 113 degrees Fahrenheit. It's not that bad over here, but it's still bad. And one thing I know to watch out for whenever it gets hot is that people that don't look like they have a place to go, higher temperatures tend to make these people use more drugs from what I've seen. And I'll admit, it's counterintuitive, but it is just something to keep in mind as we come into summer. And, 113 sounds really bad, but let's use India as our canary in the coal mine. Whenever it's sunny out, I try to find a reason to take off my shirt, bend over to let the sunshine lick your back, and let that vitamin D in. Just take it in. Can't hurt. Cannot hurt. But this heat wave in India is expected to last till Friday, so Godspeed with all of you. We're dealing with it just the same over here. But everyone, use it as warning for the rest of the countries. Rest of the summer, sun's out, guns out. Soak up that vitamin D. Let's get it. And that's about it for me today, guys. It's what's been on my mind. Once again, I will address that, this show is a work in progress, and we are fixing the technical problems along the way, and I just thank you once again for being on that ride with me. Trust me, I'm just as annoyed by it as all of you guys are. But until next time, I'm Chance, this is Cheers, and this is a Chance Cablay original, just in case anyone was interested in the purchase of said item. Reach out, I will get back to you. Until next time, guys, take care of yourself. Have a good day.